Okay, so just to wrap us up, I want to talk about sort of recap what we've covered in the comment session yesterday and today, and talk about some ongoing challenges and opportunities into the future. So to recap, yesterday afternoon and this morning, we heard a bunch of examples about how the Science Transfer Program is working with our partners to collaborate and innovate to bridge the knowledge action gap. So we've heard from a bunch of great projects that have drawn upon co-production and collaboration and capacity building and other approaches to create innovative science products to inform fishery management decisions. And I want to just take a minute to express my gratitude for the Science Transfer Board, all of the project leaders and project teams who've worked so hard, GLFC staff who have contributed to this effort, all the managers, fishery managers who provided input, participation, all the scientists, all the other folks who have engaged with the program. You've really made this all possible, so thank you. And so we just heard from a great panel here on some of their sort of the barriers and challenges that they face in bridging the knowledge action gap, or if we want to reframe things per Andy Todd, managing the knowledge action gap. So we are making a lot of progress, but these challenges do remain. One thing I want to note on the knowledge production side, a lot of research is still being developed and conducted in a silo, and it's, as Erin mentioned, she's been really successful with doing co-production approaches and working with managers and community members and people who would be using the information, but that's kind of pretty cutting edge as far as an approach is concerned. So a lot of science is not actionable or relevant immediately. And one way that we're addressing this challenge is we're funding a project led by Dr. Steve Cook at Carleton University titled Considerations for Producing Usable Science. And so this project's going to examine the science action gap using social science methods and use those results to create tailored guidance for scientists on how to produce usable science, as well as making recommendations to the Commission on how to better assess research proposals for their potential to inform management. On the knowledge action side, we heard a lot of great stuff from the panel on some of the barriers that they continue to face. One theme that I kept hearing was managing expectations and communicating with stakeholders. This seems to be sort of the critical task of managers as far as being a conduit between the science and stakeholders. And I think there was a lot of really good examples of these different types of knowledge action that are possible, so it's not always necessary or possible to sort of have this instrumental knowledge action, this direct change to policy and practice. Managing expectations or justifying current policies is another type of knowledge action. And then within the knowledge mediation sphere, we heard about some challenges with this sort of reevaluation and feedback loop here at the bottom with research priorities and sort of articulating research priorities and keeping those dynamic and up to date with the current issues in the lakes. And so that's an area that we'll continue to work on going forward. It's also super challenging to evaluate the effectiveness of our science transfer efforts because as you heard from the panelists, there's a lot of factors that go into a decision. And documenting and tracing those factors is nearly impossible. However, not one to shy away from a challenge, the Fishery Commission is investing in some work on research impact to examine some past examples of research being applied to management and trying to understand what contributed to success or lack thereof of implementing science in those cases. So as we continue our work to overcome these challenges, there's some really exciting projects that are underway. So I just wanted to take a minute to sort of plug these upcoming projects and tell you to stay tuned for products coming out from these. So the first one to highlight here is it's called Practical Guidance for Selecting a Methodology for Conducting Stock Identification in the Great Lakes. It's being led by Travis Brendan at the Quantitative Fisheries Center at Michigan State University. And the objective here is to provide concise information about the various approaches for conducting stock identification in Great Lakes systems, including operational considerations, so things like equipment needs, what kind of technical skills do you need to have on your staff, strengths and weaknesses of the various approaches, and important or limiting assumptions of the approaches. Another upcoming project I'm excited about is omics science transfer, applications in fishery management and conservation. And this omics refers to approaches like genomics, proteomics, and metabolomics that this project led by Dan Heath at the University of Windsor will translate those techniques and their applications and benefits by developing non-technical educational materials and decision guiding tools for Great Lakes fishery managers. I did want to highlight that we are doing some lamprey control, sea lamprey control specific work as well out of the science transfer program. So one current project is stream selection for lampricide treatments, effectively communicating the process internally and among partners. We've heard from control agents is that when you go to a landowner and you say we want to access your stream, get on your land to do a treatment, like, well, why'd you pick this stream? Why now? Or you just treated last year. Why are you back? And there's so many factors that go into that process for selecting streams to treat with lampricides, but it's really hard to communicate that to stakeholders. And so this project's being led by Aaron Dubar, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and it will develop clear messaging and outreach materials to support effective communication of the stream selection process to various audiences. And then later this year, we'll be launching a webinar series on technoscience innovations. And technoscience refers to technological advancements and their accompanying science approaches, and talking about these technoscience innovations and their potential applications in fishery management. So if you're interested in receiving information about this series, there's a QR code here you can scan to sign up to get on the email list to get more information. And there's also some flyers on the materials table that have this link as well. And I will have the QR code up on the last slide, so if you need a minute. So finally, just to wrap up, your science transfer ideas can become a reality. One of the key challenges that we face is just staff and basin capacity to do this work. So we want to get more people involved and build capacity across the basin for more effectively transferring knowledge to Great Lakes fishery management problems. So if you have ideas, please do reach out to me, reach out to any of the GLFC staff. I even heard of a few ideas yesterday that we were chatting about at the social, so it's really great that people are starting to think about these things. You can submit ideas on the form up here as well, or like I said, reach out to staff or science transfer board members. So finally, I just want to close by giving a huge thank you to all the speakers and panelists in the comment session for your contributions, and everyone in the audience as well for your attention. Thank you.